little bit earlier.
Grab a beer.
Yeah, grab a beer, have some cheers, and yay. Mm. Peter's still trying to figure out YouTube over there, seeing what we can do with it. I'm sorry, what?
Someone's asking if we're trying to split screen for social distancing.
Oh, yeah. Well, that is what we're doing. Exactly, 100%. Split screening for social distancing. Except for he's not really, like, screening. He's just kind of, over there. All right, we got
When we get it figured out, I'm going to be on this side of the screen, and that's our social distancing. But ultimately, you guys can be on screen too, and that way, if we're virtual brewing on this Saturday, you guys can jump in, and we can have periods where people get to talk about what they're brewing too. That way, it's not just, hey, we've got to go sparge for 4 hours. Let's go ahead and leave it at that. You guys can jump in and be like, this is what I'm doing. We think that'd be fun.
With also plug Saturday from 2 to 5, we are doing a Zoom meeting as well as broadcasting a live stream off for American Homebrew Association's Big Brew Day. This year we're doing they're doing a big digital brew. Bunch of people are tuning in all at the same time across the country and world to do all that kind of good stuff. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna do a Zoom meeting with it and get it going. Have all kinds of fun with it.
Now you can watch both chats and do everything.
Ooh, yeah.
You're going to get so confused.
Justin Reed says sound is low. Johns, yeah, we are trying split screen for social distancing. Good way. Bill says volume. He can barely hear me too. Let me turn this a little bit towards me. See. Well, we had a couple people say that growing up MacArthur, Peter was much closer to his microphone. I did just adjust mine, so let us know how that is. Seth, yes, 2 p.m. Pacific time, our time. Well, I don't know. When is the AHA doing it? They said 2 to 5, but I didn't actually bother to look like what time zone they were going to do it in. They are in Colorado, so that could be mountain time, but that'd be stupid because no one likes mountain time. No insult to anybody on mountain time, though. I love y'all, but, it's either Eastern or Pacific. Like, that's the way to go.
It's their fault for having the wrong time.
So. Exactly. Peter said the COVID-19 was very good, really fun. Everybody had a great time. Some of us more than others. Shower curtains were lost. But, it was fun. It was fun. I only heard about it. All right. It kind of looks like we're doing all right on both sides. If anybody in the Zoom meeting does want to actually chime on and say something, feel free to. Basic courtesy rules: don't talk over other people. Try not to leave your mic on so we're listening to static all the time. But other than that, let's get after it. Central Time is the standard. You're cute. I guess it all depends on where you live. You could be, somewhere in like New Zealand or Uruguay, and your time zone might be far different than ours. So, yeah. Oh, hi, baby Noelle. Hey. She gets really. No, not at all. She gets really mad at me when she can see me on live streams, but I won't talk back to her. Which is, I imagine, entertaining when you were seeing it from, hours later and not living it in real time. Because let's face it, children are funny as long as you don't have to deal with them. All right, seen a few more people in there. Cheers to Matthew Morgan. I see you're joining us in the happy hour. Alan Huschel's just over there, working up. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can't tell if the Alan Hughes just has like a picture on there, if he's actually just sitting live streaming right now. Just I don't know. He might be working on his Chinese phone book, getting a few chins going on. But oh shoot, oh shoot. Sorry, that was mean. I don't apologize. I don't know either. Kevin, I can see you now. Cheers. Thanks for joining us. Good to have you. We're having a good time over here. We're actually having a great time. We've powered through most of the Austin Powers today. It was great. We were on a Bond run, but, you know, we might as well go for the good spy movies and hit some Austin Powers. All right, getting a few more. PETA's still working. Rude. He doesn't have a mic on this. It wasn't rude. It's funny. I mean, it is kind of funny. You don't. You should change your picture on that. It is not flattering. Just trying to help you out, bro. Trying to, trying to be a bro. Help you out.
The funny thing is, the people that are watching the YouTube live stream can't see what's going on in the OBS live stream.
They don't even know what I'm talking about right now. For those of you, if I mention it, I'm looking at other people or talking to other people, I'm on the Zoom meeting right now. Peter is as well, but I'm on the Zoom meeting right now, talking to a few other people. So we're throwing that around, having a great time with it. I know. All I have to say is toughen up, Cupcake. Live stream people, how is my audio now? You hear me a little bit better? Oh no, Zoom meeting guys, you're all right. My mic's right up there on this. I was a little quiet for the YouTube live stream for a while. We adjusted some things and just seeing how that's going. Oh, nice. Hey, that's a little meta. I'm watching myself. That's neat. Right? Breaking the fifth wall. Good. That's awesome. We try and set the mics so they have very low pickup, so they have super crispy audio. But unfortunately, that means they got to be right up in our face. Just in case somebody wants to come in and get some more ingredients from us, because we're here for that. We're here for you guys. All right, am I getting anybody else? We're looking good. You do, yeah. That's it's actually really interesting for us to see that on YouTube. Most of the time, we'll pull up our YouTube live stream and have it in front of us while we're talking, so we can actively comment on it. But it'll be. Sorry, I just read on the YouTube somebody's commenting about the Austin Powers. Makes me chuckle. It's weird to watch that because you'll be watching yourself talking about something, but it's almost like 30 seconds behind. You're like, what? I'm not echoing. I'm stumbling over myself, though. This is weird. This is weird. Welcome in there, Juanita Garcia. Welcome to the live stream. Cheers. Oh. I mean, if you're donating plasma or blood and you really have nothing else to do, is it really that disrespectful to just kind of hang out on the live stream? I just can't do the Zoom. Well, okay. I kind of get that. I mean, he's on Zoom. It's a live picture feed. There could be other people in there. So, all right. Yeah. Oh, asleep in the chair. Nice. Well, let's do a roll call. What's everybody drinking right now? I'm drinking some of our Irish lager. We used heritage grain in it. London lager malt gives it actually a really delicious base on that. If you haven't tried it before, I do suggest it. It's really interesting. It's subtle flavor differences, but something that's actually really good. So, yeah, let's go around. Let's see what we're drinking here. Kevin, you're first up on my list. Go for it, buddy. Nice. That sounds delicious.
We got to reset to the people on YouTube because they can't hear what they're drinking.
They can't. Oh, yeah. All right. First one, Kevin's drinking some nitro stout, homebrew stout. It looks rather delicious. I can see the head built up on that, and it's, man, thick, creamy. Definitely want it in my mouth. Matt Morgan, how about you, buddy? What you drinking off? Yeah. Delicious. Always delicious. He's drinking a nice, delicious beer. A few different hops in there. I'm centering in on that Galaxy because anytime you throw that in a beer, it's always going to be delicious. Kind of a, yeah, it's like a cheater hop in my opinion. I don't mean that in a bad way, but you throw Galaxy in anything, always going to be good. Oh, there you go. Nelson Citra Mosaic Galaxy Dippa. Oh, and the Nelson with that, man. Nice. All right, Jared, you're up, buddy. What you drinking? Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank you for not putting Crystal Malt into that West Coast. That makes my heart happy. Personally, I'm against a lot of Crystal Malts and IPAs because, you know, it just gets it way too sweet. So I like that. I like it. All right, moving on down. Oh, we got a few more people. We already know that my wife Allison is drinking some champagne, so I'm going to skip over you. I mean, you can shout it out if you want. Yeah, which one? Suicide Squeeze, always a classic from Fort George, killing it. For you guys that are not in the Pacific Northwest, because Fort George does not distribute out of there, do what you can to get a hold of some of these beers. They are amazing. Cannot speak highly enough of Fort George. They're awesome guys. Hang on a second, guys. In the Zoom, I'm going to run through a little bit of YouTube here. What we got going on? Ooh, Count Druncula, you got a dark wheat. Metabisulfate, can taste it. Dark wheats are always delicious. There are not enough of them out there. Make some more. But this, passion fruit white peach kettle sour. Yes, that sounds amazing, especially for the nicer weather that we're getting right now. Fire! Audio is still really low. Oh, Peter's playing around with the audio on YouTube. So we'll get that. Allagash White Homebrew Clone. Amazing. Hello from to Massachusetts. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Tim Hilton.
Hi, Tim Hilton. Oh, which one? Oh, there you are. Right in front of my face. What you drinking, buddy? He's on the Zoom meeting. Oh, that's sad. Because you make some delicious beers, and you should be having one of them. Ooh. Well, I mean, there's something. That definitely counts for something. Yeah, Ken, I can see you right up there, buddy. What you getting after right now? Some of the hop seltzer water? That's I haven't actually had a chance to try that yet. I have been absolutely interested. I mean, hops are always delicious. Throw it into some seltzer water. That could be great. Yeah, great, good. Ooh. Nice. Yeah, I would actually imagine in that seltzer, you probably got to play around with the water chem pretty significantly to make those hops taste right. I'm actually interested in this on YouTube. Alan McGowan sent in a red check pills. That sounds amazing, actually. I'm not entirely sure what that all entails besides, you know, applying check pills techniques to more of a red lager, but that sounds really interesting. If you can, Alan, send us some of that in the mail and we will rate it on our YouTube channel. So Peter's joining us. Here we go.
I just want to see if that thing pops up as a thing that you can actually see. I guess it's paused.
Yeah. We're checking some things out.
Too much data. The best I can do so far is to get the visual from the Zoom meeting to hopefully pop up in the corner real quick. Let us know if that happens. If not, like I still am working on the audio. There's another thing that we'll probably try tomorrow where you actually just stream our Zoom meeting to YouTube, because there's a way to actually stream your Zoom meeting to YouTube, in which case there might be a little bit more. The downside to that in my mind is there's a little bit more management that might have to go on live, and so if we're, all of a sudden like, hey, we've got to like check our sparge or something like that, and then and then all of a sudden someone's like dropping a bunch of F-bombs and I don't have a way to moderate it, that might be an issue.
Yeah, please don't get us in trouble with YouTube.
My number one rule in life is don't get me in trouble. Like, if you're not getting me in trouble, you're doing good.
Borderline. You get that question in there, like, yeah, we might get in trouble, but as long as we don't. Yeah. As long as we don't. All right. Here we're still going on down the line here. I got a couple other people in here. Who hasn't sounded off? Mike W. You enjoying anything, buddy? Yacht Club IPA. I've not heard of that one, but I will look for it. Sounds like it could be tasty. I mean, it's beer. It's going to be tasty. Definitely. All right. We did get... Don't get... Ooh. Are you going to do the COVID run again? We just got a comment on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm gonna break the world record.
All right. So for those of you who don't know, Peter just the other day with a couple of other people did the 19-miler, COVID 19-miler. 19 miles running on that, as well as drinking a beer for every mile that he ran.
19 beers, 19 miles, under 190 minutes. I actually got second that time, but...
Second.
But we're giving it another go, or I'm giving it another go.
Right.
For the official one.
I mean, you have to come in first. You're disappointing us right now.
People don't know this out there. I'm unofficially the beer half marathon world record holder as well.
Yeah, definitely. I believe that.
Wow.
That is real news.
An hour 36. It's on my other Instagram, my Genus Beer Miler Instagram.
Definitely. Howdy to San Diego. In San Diego. Senior... I'm gonna mess that up so bad. Send us some society, please. Like, yes, please. I would love that so much. All right, back to normal business.
Hey Tim, so okay, hey, we're up. Did the picture in picture.
Oh,
we did the picture in picture.
It's working. Nice.
So you can actually see things, but you just can't hear the people that are talking.
It's all right. I'll translate for you. I'm a good translator.
There we go. So whoever's talking ends up, showing up in the picture. And so if you're telling us what beer you're doing, you can tell Tim. You'll pop up in that corner right there. I actually might make that corner a little bit bigger. But then Tim can translate for you, and then we'll, How many 12 ounces of throw? I didn't throw up once, Hayden. How dare you even assume I would throw up during a 19-mile, 19-beer run?
No. There might have been someone that threw up, but we don't know who that was.
He was the least drunk out of all of us.
Definitely. Logan?
No.
Logan did go for a run yesterday, and it was amazing. He put shorts on, probably the first time I've ever seen him in shorts, and oh my god, it was weird.
His legs looked like actual pretzels.
Like actual like pretzel sticks, just the tiny little ones. It's one of those Pinocchio. The guy, he's walking on two little stick legs, and you're like, yeah, that's not real in life. That's Logan.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. I would like to see it again.
Yeah, but worst case scenario so tomorrow, by the way, tune back in. We're going to try to do a Zoom meeting where we live stream that, and people can jump on and I'll have to constantly moderate it. We'll see how that goes. And then Saturday, very worst case, we'll have both a Zoom meeting and the live stream going at the same time. That way we can still hear you and you can share with everybody that jumps in on the Zoom meeting what you got going on. The hope is that we can also broadcast that and get that out to OBS, through OBS into our live stream. If you know a better way to do it than I do, let me know. But right now, I can't find a way to get sound. I can get the picture, but not the sound.
We're getting a little bit of echoing, apparently.
Echoing?
Yeah, echoing.
From the Zoom meeting or from the...
on YouTube.
Oh, I'm wondering if that's because both of our microphones are turned up.
It could be. Well, now it says never mind. We're just going to press on. Soldier on.
Soldier on.
I'm going to pause real quick and just say hi to John and Micah Russell on here. Didn't quite get to those guys before Peter joined us. So, hi, welcome in. Glad to have you on the Zoom.
It was super fun being able to listen to people that are jumping in on Zoom, too, so we can kind of talk live in person. But then also I realized it was really awkward talking live in person. And also to everyone that's like, who are they talking to?
Like, what's going on there? Oh, you know what? I should probably actually do this smart and switch these so I can hear you and everybody else.
There we go.
No.
You got 1 ear for Zoom and 1 ear for not Zoom.
That's right.
Those of you who did jump in on the Zoom meeting, does that sound like a fun idea for Saturday? If you're doing a brew day on Saturday and you want to jump into a group Zoom meeting, I was hoping to be able to live stream all the Zoom meetings. That way I can like pull a Zoom meeting from, let's say I jump in on somebody else's meeting so that I can actually still live stream that. But I'm not quite sure how to figure that one out yet.
Not yet. We will eventually.
I'll get there.
Especially if someone helps us. But we will get there.
Keep in mind, we've only been live streaming for a couple months, and if you saw our first couple live streams, they were either purple or we sounded like robots, so we're worlds ahead of that.
I don't know. I mean, sounding like a robot could be fun.
Yeah, it
also could give away my secret identity.
Whoops. He's a Decepticon.
Darn it. Roll out. All right. Yeah, so here we are.
Here we are. Sounds fun.
Yeah, we're still good on that. Well. Hey, we are in quarantine right now. Jared's on here. He's telling us that he's saving his beer drinking for weekends, but we're not helping with that because we have happy hour on Thursday.
Yeah.
But my response to that is we are in quarantine, and there's no laws in quarantine right now.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking quarantine beers.
Quarantine beers. Definitely.
I just realized that there might be a way for me
to put it all on there.
Yes. Well, to put the audio on, but the thing is, the audio might go separately from the video. So that's. We'll see. We'll
see what happens. Yeah, I've had a few people who are normally, 9-to-5ers, normal jobs, as I would say, that have been like, is it wrong of me to start drinking before noon? I'm like, no, we are in quarantine right now. You can drink whenever you want. Although I also say that being, a brewer in the brew house where we have to taste beer sometimes at, 9 a.m. for science purposes. Exactly. Some of the best breweries started in garage. Hey, Dogfish Head started in a basement. So definitely an official brew house. Heathen still does a lot of brewing in a garage. Right? Crazy, man. That is crazy. For those of you in different parts, Heathen Brewing Company is out of Vancouver, Washington. They have a special place in my heart, one of my first forays into the craft beer industry. My brother-in-law, Jeremy Maupin, lived over there at the time, and we kind of worked together to distribute Heathen in Spokane, which is about 300 miles away from Vancouver for a frame of reference. So Heathen holds a special place in my heart. They're awesome guys, and what they did for the Vancouver beer scene was incredible. I mean, they kind of turned their downtown around a little bit. I won't give them sole credit because there were a lot of other businesses in there, but I don't care about them because they're not beer. So go Heathen. It is. Vancouver is fun. We're talking about Vancouver on Zoom right now. Vancouver is a fun little town. Vancouver, Washington, not Vancouver, BC. Vancouver, BC is also a fun town, but, we are... oh, sorry, Zoom was telling me something. But, we're talking about the Washington one. It kind of gets forgotten about sometimes because we're, literally right across the river from Portland. But... an awesome, fun little town. If you want to get a little bit of that Portland experience, but not as much weird, you hit a few places in Vancouver. All right. You still working on that over there? Come on, guys. YouTube, get a little more active in this, YouTube guys. You haven't been... I'm sorry, what? Oh yeah, let's do that. Brew call. Let's throw up what you're brewing.
There's a solid chance that the audio is about to suck right now, but I'm going to find out very quickly.
That's a. We got one Kolsch going on in the Zoom. Kolsch is perfect for this time. You know, right about to turn hot, and Kolsches are delicious. We should drink more proper Kolsches. Kolsches that do not taste like corn pops, because that's not proper. Don't do that. Anybody else? Who's else got some? Well, I'll start off to that. We got to actually do it. We talked about it in a few different live streams. We got a few things brewing up right now that I'm personally excited about. We've started into a foray of brewing some extreme high ABV beers. And I say extreme because we're pushing it up to about 15% for now. We're going to see if we could go a little bit higher, but we got a nice 15% barley wine going on in the fermenter at the moment. Yes. We got Jay on YouTube. He's brewing a traditional German Pilsner. Nice. One of my favorite personal styles. Jeff, lager in one, Czech Pils in the other, Pale Ale in the third, Vienna lager going on. Oh man, Vienna lagers. We need to make one of those not here soon. What about... There you go. That is actually one of the fun things about this quarantine, kind of for us. I mean, yeah, it sucks not being able to do your normal stuff, but switching up brewing styles and making different things that you don't normally make because, hey, you got time, right? That's been really fun, I will say. We got that in there. Anybody else in Zoom? What? Oh, well, we did have somebody comment on there. Russell, I saw that. He's brewing a red IPA, I believe that I saw. Always delicious. We have an almost red IPA on tap right now. When done right. Don't make too much crystal malt in there. Nobody likes sucking on pennies. Ooh. Canadian Pale Ale, Guy McPherson. I like that, actually. I'm going to have to look up that style and see what's going on with that. I'm intrigued. What makes it Canadian? You know? Brew a New Zealand Pilsner. Okay. New Zealand Pilsner. I'm going to guess that I'm reading off of YouTube right now for Zoom. New Zealand Pilsner. I'm going to guess that that's New Zealand hops over a classic Pilsner style on there. That could be really delicious. Pick some good ones, maybe a little bit low alpha, shift a few more back towards the end and have that nice, like, bright, tropical Pilsner deliciousness going on. Yes, yes, please.
Outstanding. Definitely worthy of the gold. Sure.
Right. Oh, I believe it. If you're using some of those Australian hops, especially some of the newer age ones, and that nice, light, drinkable pale ale style. I mean, we always use them in IPAs, and that's so aggressive. I think you miss some of the subtlety in some of those hops. So, man, that's delicious. I mean, I like that. We just got a guy who told me in New Zealand that's exactly his plan. I like that. Canadian Pale Ale. Let's read this off. Sasquatch hops, Canadian two-row. Super unique, never used internationally. Oh, Sasquatch hops. We need some of that. I mean, what do you guys get Sasquatch hops? We live in Washington. We have the most amount of Sasquatch sightings here in this state. That should be here. I'm just complaining. Don't send us some, and then we'll use it. That'll be delicious. Peter, you read the
Echo.
comment on it?
Maybe turn off your audio input to Zoom.
To Zoom?
Maybe.
Okay.
Can you mute yourself on Zoom?
Yeah, I am muted on Zoom.
Alright. Ask if the echo's gone.
Is the echo gone on YouTube? We're seeing if a fewer is coming out of here. Echo, echo, echo. Mute the audio on Zoom. Yeah, we're muting the audio on Zoom because that's coming through both.
Muting your audio on Zoom, not my audio on Zoom.
Yeah.
Actually, this is that beer I was just talking about. Australian for pale.
Nice.
So GABF gold winner for pale ale last year. It's awesome.
All right.
That's pretty cool.
Hey, can Zoom?
Galaxy Nelson and Motueka.
Sweet.
God, that sounds delicious. Can Zoom still hear
Green
me?
Cheek Brewing. If you're ever in Orange County, California, be sure to check them out.
All right.
I don't think.
So where are you from, Jared?
I'm from Corona, not coronavirus, but Corona, California, which is about 45 miles east of LA.
Nice. I'm
nice.
Located Western New York. I see about 2 miles south
Only
of
my
Buffalo.
mic.
Oh, okay. Man, I guess we're opposite corners of the country now, aren't we?
Yeah. Cheers, man.
Hey, salut.
I don't know if Zoom can hear me though now.
Now you can turn it back on your Zoom. You can turn it back on your Zoom. But when we want to ask questions to everybody else, I now know what to do to make it so that we can let audio from Zoom come in. We should be good.
Okay. So, yeah, Zoom can't hear me right now.
You can turn it back on. I got it. I think I've got it double taken off. So right now, no Zoom can be heard. But when you do beer call outs and we pop up the Zoom screen, you can do. You guys should be able to show up on the whole thing.
On the whole thing.
So let us know. Do you want to hear everybody that's on Zoom? Do you want to do another beer call out? Does that sound fun? I think I've got it into a spot where come this Saturday we should be able to at least pop up a screen that lets Zoom people share what they got going on too.
Yeah. When I had my mic muted for Zoom people to catch back up, we're trying to figure out, it seems like that if we put our audio on YouTube from the meeting, that the double audio on there causes a horrendous echo. So we're only going to put the Zoom audio up if we're doing like beer call outs and fermenters and things like that.
Also, super thanks for working with us on this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, this is very brand new to us in terms of like reaching out to the community and creating stuff like this where we get to both live stream to everyone that watches us on YouTube and hopefully connect personally with those that are on Zoom. So
we can't see your beautiful face.
how about now?
There now.
How about now? Double check the audio is good too.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I mean, we try. We are still learning at this. We got into all of this. I mean, it was a big experiment. It was kind of like, hey, we got all this stuff, so we might as well just record it and put it out there. And
Yeah.
We've definitely gotten better at it, but we couldn't still be here if it wasn't for you guys. So
Absolutely. That's the story of our YouTube lives, just kind of starting from the ground up. Those of you who have seen us at the very, very earliest.
I'm just turning it towards you. You were cut off, but I think you probably should be okay right there.
Now I'm better. I'm trying to be 6 feet away, guys.
We aren't. We have the camera set to like a zoom angle, so we are 6 feet away. I can definitely not reach him,
That's right.
but we'll be good.
Yeah.
Ooh, and
Let's
here
pour Jerry
comes
a beer.
one of our favorite people,
Jerry.
Jerry. Welcome in. Say hi to the interwebs. Jerry says hi.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, guys. So yeah, and I mean, thanks for coming along with us on this journey. It's certainly been fun for us. I'm sure it's been at least an okay time. Make fun of us a few times for our horrendous musics or some weird purple videos, but hey. Exactly, John. This is a dress rehearsal for our premiere on Saturday. we're gonna go professional then. Definitely no mess ups or the
I'm gonna turn
weird
this
things.
microphone off and yours down for a little bit.
Oh yeah, do that. YouTube, you're gonna not hear me for a minute, and Zoom, I am really sorry because this is gonna also suck. We're gonna do a couple of cans here for somebody, and it's a really loud machine. So, oh no, you don't have to be sorry, Jerry. You're buying some beer from us. Like, cheers to you, sir. You're getting a few cheers from our Zoom meeting too. My wife says hi. This has been kind of an interesting thing. I know we've mentioned it before. How all the supply chains are getting hit. Cans about a month and a half ago were almost impossible to find. We had to switch our can supplier, and that was a whole fiasco because you got to order the lids with the cans, and sometimes that's hard to do. And now glass, 12 ounce and especially 22 ounce bombers. Hang on. 22 ounce bombers are starting to become really rare too now. It's interesting to see what's happening and what people are doing. USO5 is starting to have a shortage. USO5, WLP001, Y Yeast, 1050, the American ale yeast. That's starting to have a big shortage around the country too, because people are starting to pick it up for things like bread making. Because baker's yeast is all being sold out. It's pretty incredible. It's cool to see other people know what we already know, that we can do all this stuff. But yeah, it's also interesting to see what's not in stock anymore that people are gobbling up.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were warned by a few of our distributors that there's going to be a shortage of USO5 in particular. USO5, I mean, it's the most popular yeast out there, so for health people doing brewer's yeast or people doing bread, all that other kind of fun stuff, I mean, that's going to be the first yeast that everybody picks up because it's just, oh yeah, you need a yeast for something, here's, USO5. But yeah, yeah, for sure. For me, I mean, like, yeah, there you are, Jeff Brislin. I'm excited about that too. Get people branching out to different yeasts. Personally, for myself, I do not like USO5. It's not a yeast that I actually use. It is a wonderful yeast if you use it and have delicious beers. Don't let me talk you into anything different. You make delicious beer. But I don't like it. I think a lot of our homebrews could be so much better if we just switched into using specific yeast for those beers and getting away from just this classic, clean American ale yeast into something a little bit more exciting, So that's pretty cool.
There we go.
Right? Exactly. Right? Senor Bosse, I'm brewing an alt beer soon. I want to use 3470 fermentus. That's actually a pretty good yeast to use for that. The 3470, we use that for most of our Kolsch strains. Cold ferment that sucker, and that is going to be beautiful for an alt beer. Alt beer, of course, being a hybrid style, just like Kolsch on there. So I fully and 100% support that. Do that. Bill Judkins, when are we going to start shipping kits to Hawaii? We probably could, actually. Just keep in mind that we're going to have to ship it to Hawaii, which is going to drive shipping up a little bit. The part that would make us nervous about that is the freshness of your ingredients. We try not to ship anything so far away, we can't guarantee the freshness of your ingredients. Now, most of that's going to be the coffee, and at that point, who kind of cares, because you're in Hawaii and you can get super fresh, delicious coffee right there. So we could probably work with you. Send us a Facebook message, and we'll see if we can work with you on that. So, Jeff Brislin again, good subs to USO5. Depends on what you're doing on that. USO5 is used for so much that you could just alter in it. If you're making an amber or a brown, switching over to SO4. IPAs too, switching over into SO4, which is just the British ale strain. That's going to give you a little bit more fruitiness coming out of there, and especially in the brown and amber, that's going to be super delicious. I actually like American Ale 2 yeasts. They're great fermenters. I personally believe they're a little bit cleaner than USO5 if using it right. And that'll be great for like American IPAs, West Coast IPAs, things like that. But I would say very style dependent. Personally, I got stuck into using English ESB yeast for a long time. I love the way that thing ferments out. I think it's awesome. It's a great house yeast for a lot of different beers. But Peter actually worked me into using a couple of different yeast for different beers like that, and I love that. It took my beers from being good to great, and that's just one of the things that I feel about USO5 is that we're using these for ESBs, we're using these for browns, we're using these for porters, for stouts, for IPA, for pale, for blondes, and it makes great beer. Or good beer, but to kind of shift it into making great beer, picking a little bit of a different yeast that's going to make more delicious flavors in the specific style. So IPA, switching into the SO4, give you a little bit more extra fruitiness out of there while still being super clean. Browns and porters, actually switching into like ESB or maybe a Scottish yeast. Something that's going to really complement that malt style a little bit more. And that's a wonderful thing. Right now in quarantine, we have a bunch of time to do it, We can experiment all you want. You can sit there and babysit it. You might be essential, so maybe not. But, we can probably sit there and babysit a lot more. So definitely try it out. Do some different things. Kolsch yeast make a good sub for USO5 and pale ales. Yes. Yes, Jeff. Yeah, East Coast ale yeast, probably something similar to the Conan strain on that, honestly. In relevance to everything else. Yes, it's its own specific strain, but where you, in labels where people don't know it, I'm giving a relevance to it. Like if you were to say to somebody, oh, I have, a 3755, which I don't think is a real yeast, honestly. I'm making up numbers. Well, what is that? French Saison. French Saison is similar to Belgian Saison, but that's a great yeast to use actually as well, too. Use that on your really clean beers. That'll get the East Coast ale yeast that do tend to be, East Coast beers do tend to have a little bit more yeast expression than a lot of West Coast, and that's awesome. I mean, it's fun. I love seeing that kind of stuff. No, but it is not Conan, but it has some of this similar flavor profile. Conan just is more recognizable right now, so I'm using it as a reference. If you say East Coast ale yeast, a lot of people are like, oh, what? What does that mean? If you say, oh, the Conan strain or hazy IPA strain, oh yeah, I know exactly what that means. Yeah, yeah, exactly. The Sam Adams yeast is it's not quite as fruity and not quite as forward as the East Coast ale yeast. It's not as fruity and forward as Conan will be. I'm trying to think of what that's actually derived from. I don't know if that would give you a haze or not. That might be a good experimentation, right? All right, going through. I already answered you, Jeff. Yes, Kolsch yeast will be really good in pale ales too. Kolsch is going to give you a little bit of fruitiness that's really going to, in my opinion, that could up your pale ale game. Do keep in mind that Kolsch is very powdery. It does not like to fall out of fluctuation, so you will have to wait more time for a brilliantly clear pale ale. But as long as you're not afraid of that little bit of yeast haze, that would be a good yeast to use for a pale ale. So. Yeah, Jeff, we're talking about the yeast shortage. Oh, you're in Australia. Cool. Yeah, hop shortage, especially in Citra. That doesn't surprise me. With how popular Citra's been getting, you're seeing a lot more breweries getting the contracts for that. And again, the yeast shortage, that is something that we heard about from some of our distributors. So this may be something that we see. This may be something that the distributors are super low for a little bit, but as consumers, we don't see it for a while.
We have a little bit of a bigger buffer zone between like supply chain and end users, so it might be to the point where we actually never even see a shortage in the store, whereas other people might see the store shortage.
Oh, you have a picture now on Zoom. It's a ceiling, but you have it.
Yay! I have a picture on the Zoom.
Whoa!
And that picture should be in the corner. That's my phone. That's because my phone's over there. So if I wanted to do a beer call out from the people that are on Zoom, I could turn down, you could mute your audio, and we could do a temporary beer call out, and I can make that picture bigger.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hey, we're going to wait for YouTube to catch up a little bit. It says Peter's face is still covered, so we're going to see where that ends up being.
Yeah.
That's kind of awkward watching ourselves. Are we even there?
Oh, that's from a while ago. Go back to the live point. See? Now you got Zoom up there. So what I could do is I can actually make that Zoom screen the full screen, and we could mute ourselves for a little bit, and then turn everybody else up.
Yeah.
So does that sound fun? You guys tell me.
Oh yeah, because you're in the side picture. Okay. Yeah. Yes, you would get in trouble if you drank the Clarity Rarity. I want to drink that beer.
Yeah, no, I already told your wife she can drink it. So Tim's right now.
I can't see the chat in Zoom because it's on my phone. How can I turn that?
Tim's talking to his wife in Zoom. She wants to drink one of his rare beers. I told her yes because I was on the chat when she was asking that. And definitely seemed like my idea to give the go-ahead.
Don't give her ideas. All right, so when I tap my face and it just says meeting settings and disconnect audio.
How are you guys doing today? How's this live chat? Ooh, let's do you know what? Hey, pause that conversation. Pause that conversation. We're going to make Zoom the thing that's happening.
Okay, we're going to make Zoom the thing that's happening. So,
Zoom audio on, I think. I'm gonna do this.
Hopefully, we're gonna see what's going on here. How the hell did I do this? Okay, woof. Pressing buttons. Yeah, okay. What? Yeah. Oh, that is so weird. I need to figure out how to. Okay. I cannot hear you through my headphone.
Yeah, we can't hear him in Zoom either.
Yeah, Peter's not audio active in Zoom.
Yeah, I wonder if I can unmute him. I should be able to, right?
We can hear you, Tim.
Now the entire screen should just be you.
Should just be here. Okay.
Yeah, you're the main.
Yeah, if that's live.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as live as it is for us.
Here, I'll make a big screen too. People on YouTube if they can hear you through Zoom.
Can people on YouTube hear us with no echo and stuff?
Hello, people of YouTube.
Yeah, people of YouTube. Oh, sweet. I finally found the chat. All right. I don't know how other people's phones are working, but this sucker was buried in there. Wow.
Well, yeah, the chat buries on a phone. You have to figure out your own settings.
Oh, shoot. We missed
Here, Peter. Oh.
we're missing a few of those in there. Vanilla caramel porter from Mike W. I cannot hear you through Zoom. No.
Negative, Ghost Rider.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We're caught up. Yeah. People are on YouTube are saying that they can hear us really well. Sweet. Off the Zoom. So cool.
Tim, your Zoom is lagging. Your face is frozen. We can hear you fine, but just know
So
that.
then the idea would be to basically be able to do segments this Saturday where we say, do brew shout outs to those who are doing brews. And then we've got the Zoom meeting that's going. And then we say, all right, for this next half hour, it's just going to be the Zoom meeting, and people that are on Zoom can share what they're doing. We can use our phones instead of anything else to actually, show people what's going on, I guess. So we can actually be like, all right, this is my close up of my beer that's going on, or whatever. So that'd be the idea for this Saturday. That sounds super good.
Close up of my beer I got going on.
Yeah. That actually is the new head full of dynamite. I think it's 17. Is super delicious. I suggest checking it out. And if you don't live in the Pacific Northwest and can't get a hold of Fremont, I feel very bad for you.
I like your close up, Kevin. That was legit, and your head looks awesome.
My brother would not approve of my hat. He builds toolboxes for macro tools.
So how it works right now, by the way, is that, so I can't hear anything on Zoom because I don't have headphones. But whoever's the one that's talking, whoever's in green, is the person that should be showing up on our YouTube live stream.
Yeah. Or if you're on Zoom and you're on the whoever's talking page, like Allison, that's who's showing up on that.
Well, hey, YouTube.
It's probably because of the wind chimes in the back.
Likely. I'll mute myself.
I have a quick question about yeast.
Some people say it's cool.
Yeah.
Say
my face is showing up.
Harvest my yeast and wash my yeast. And would it be possible to freeze the yeast in little vials or anything like that? Would it be okay to maybe later on?
So, all right, everybody on YouTube, you guys can hear him now. Sweet. For Peter, he's asking about washing yeast and then freezing it. Don't necessarily recommend freezing yeast. It can be done. It can be done successfully. Just when you freeze the yeast, the water actually inside the yeast cells most of the time will burst the yeast open, and that's not great. That kills the yeast basically. So you have no idea if you have viable yeast or how much viable yeast you have after you freeze it, without an instantaneous freezing process. So washing your yeast and keeping it in a fermented neutral substrate, which is what Imperial does, is actually the best way, and you can keep it for about 4 months if you do it right.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we keep our yeast on it, we will normally only keep it for a couple of weeks. After that, we just maybe don't trust the cleanliness of it, just in case, So, but yeah, don't freeze your yeast. It's the basics of that.
Especially if it's in water and not another medium.
Yes, especially if it's in water and not another medium. Like I said, the water on that, because the way that water expands, it can kill a lot of yeast cells. If you can get something that doesn't expand when it freezes, that will actually work really well. And we actually had a good comment, Gifferam 190 on YouTube here. If you really want to do that kind of stuff, move to Kveik. Kveik, you can't freeze it, but you can dry it, or you can have Kveik rings where you basically throw in a ring of wood or a specific piece of wood, type of wood, into your brew while it's fermenting. Then you pull it out, dry it specifically, and that keeps your Kveik culture live, which is awesome. It's one of the very few yeasts that you can do this with. And if you can, Alan, I can't move my camera. It's on my phone. All right. Sorry. We have a few people on YouTube complaining about the Zoom angle on there.
Like if you're
professional camera.
wood or something.
I'm sorry, what?
If you were to maybe dehydrate that piece of wood with the yeast on it or something, or
you basically just let it dry. You can also dry Kveik. Thanks, Bill. I love it too. It's a great shirt. If people can't read my shirt right now, I like my water with hops and barley. Comes from a nice brewery in the Bend, Redmond area because they're delicious. Yeah, so Kveik you can actually dry out. There are methods for taking the slurry, nice thin layer on like some wax paper, letting it dry, and then reusing the flakes. The wood rings, I personally, knowing the way that a lot of these things dry out in wood or ferment in wood, I love Britanniamyces. That's my personal favorite yeast. So that's kind of the background I'm coming from. Knowing the way that these yeast can live inside of wood, it's great if you can have a beautifully cultured Kveik ring. They're not the easiest things in the world to make and maintain, but if you can, it's pretty darn awesome because you don't have to pitch yeast. You literally go grab this ring of wood and chuck it into your beer every time it ferments. No, you have to ferment with Kveik. You have to be okay doing that. But as long as you know what you're doing, you can create lagers up into really funky farmhouse beers.
Very cool. Thank you for all that information.
Yeah. Difference popping on here, saying, oh no, there's a couple in there. Been freezing yeast for what? And we're going Maine. Yeah, see how cool that was. So Count Druncula, freezing yeast from overbuilt starters and glycerin solutions. That's what we're talking about. If you're going to freeze it, you have to use a different substrate to freeze it in. Glycerin is wonderful because it doesn't expand the way water does, and it won't actually burst those yeast cells. Do you have your audio on, Peter?
My phone's audio, no, but now the microphones are on.
Yeah, can you hear that?
Do what?
Are you in the Zoom?
I was, yeah.
Big echo.
Oh, yeah, I just stopped.
No.
It's still there?
Still there. Kind of weird. But yeah, you have to use a different substrate. Glycerin's really good for that because it won't burst the yeast cells. Also, Gifferam, liquid yeast on wax paper in a dehydrator and crumble it. That's what we're talking about, drying Kveik. For other yeast, it's not quite as sanitary safe. So Kveik is a monster of yeast. I'm sorry, you guys. I have this echo going on. Lot less, but still there. Weird. Could it be coming through the computer? Probably. Okay. Oh, yes, that's gone. Nice. I can think now.
That's what happened to you. Okay, I got unmuted on the computer one. That's what happened.
Ah. Oh, that was probably me from earlier.
Yeah.
So Kveik survives that drying process, or not survives. Kveik is a little bit better for that drying process just because of the way that it ferments. It's a lot easier to have that controlled pitch in there. If you're very good at it and know what you're doing, you can dry other liquid yeast and reuse them. Just keep in mind while it's drying, you do have the potential for other bacterias and different yeast to get on there. So just be very sanitary, be very good in your practices while you're doing that, and you can. With Kveik, it's a little bit different because it's actually a blend of yeast and bacterias, and the more you get in there, the better it's going to get. So, yeah, drying yeast on a homebrew scale feasible? Yes, John, it is. Definitely you can dry yeast on the homebrew scale and be viable in that. It's actually a great way to start to learn that, because if you mess up 5 gallons, it's a lot easier to dump that down the drain than it is, 200 gallons. But that would be a good way. Practice on a small scale, work your way up to bigger scales. That way, in case if you do have something bad in your process, it doesn't ruin a whole ton of beer on it. So, sanitize your yeast nutrient when adding to high ABV beers during mid-fermentation. This is coming from YouTube. Yes, we did a video on this before. Call back to that. Go watch our high ABV video. If you are adding yeast nutrient mid-fermentation, which we do recommend on beers above 11-12%, Yes, sanitize your yeast nutrient, please. And now that could just be a little bit of boiling water, add your yeast nutrient into it, wait for it to cool down, add it in there. Just, don't take risks with that. Now, you're throwing it in mid, so you already do have alcohol, you already do have a giant culture of yeast inside of there. So there's going to be a lot less chance of infection. But if you get something, well, Acetobacter won't because that's too high of alcohol. But if you get something in there that you don't want and you have to dump that big high ABV beer, that's going to hurt. You put a lot of time and work into it. So just for as easy as it is to sanitize your yeast nutrient, sanitize your yeast nutrient. Yeah. All right. Oh, Mike Dawson. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to give you a condensed version because we do have a video up on YouTube. I don't want to bore people too much. But we're talking about beers that you're trying to push above that 11-12%. It's always a good idea to add some yeast nutrient to any beers just because you want a healthy fermentation. But for those big high ABV beers, yes, start off with some yeast nutrient and massive oxygenation in there. Make sure you have healthy yeast going on in the beginning. But midway through, when you re-oxygenate, or if you're adding more sugars in there, hitting it with another dose of yeast nutrient is almost going to be vital, just to make sure that there's enough goodness for your yeast to survive all the way to the end. That's actually something that we're doing right now. Like I said, we're trying to get about a 15% barley wine. And we staged this out. So I actually brewed twice and had a third sugar addition to it. And I started out at about a 1.080 starting gravity, nutrient, high yeast pitch, high oxygen, get it going. About 2 days later, when fermentation is really high krausen, really active, made another super high concentrated, I think it was 1.209. That I added in there, another big dose of yeast nutrient with another big dose of oxygen in there, just so the yeast can just keep going and keep fermenting while not getting. Sorry. Yeah, so I agitate. Well, we at the end when I did my last sugar addition, which was literally just 5 pounds of honey, 10 pounds of brown sugar. This is for a 31 or a 1 barrel batch. Just added it straight in. We suggest agitating your fermenter if you have the capability and a diaphragm pump to actually keep it pumping around, to keep the yeast moving, keep it in contact with all the sugars and not settling out before it's done fermenting. So we do that. We do have it circulating right now. I personally do believe it's helping with that because nothing's really settling out right now. But don't do it if you can't keep it in a closed system, is what I would say. Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's see. We're Jeff Rislid. Yeah, he's talking about drying yeast and getting some funky things into it. Worst case, you might end up with a nice sour. Jeff, I'm going to call back to that, or say, worst case, you might produce gross sour. You might produce vinegar. But in a really good case, if you're yeast drying, we were talking about that yeast drying. If you do get an infection in there and makes delicious sour, keep using that culture. Keep using it. If anyone is interested in sours, yeah, Gift, that's a good call out right there. If you are interested in brewing sour beers, American Sour Beers is a great book to pick up. Of course, there's good ones out there. We have a few videos to watch as well. Sorry guys, I'm running through a few comments on here. Ooh, Brian O'Hearn doing a Schwarzbier next weekend. Delicious. I love Schwarzbiers. I think they're super underrated. Water profile. So in that, you're gonna want more of a Bavarian water profile. Hang on a sec. Peter might know. Do you know if Beersmith has an exact like Schwarzbier water profile in it?
I don't know if they have a water profile, but you're probably looking at something on the like slightly more neutral Bavarian one. It should be everywhere. Like everything's going to be below 50 to 60 parts per million. Your chlorides, sodium is actually going to be slightly high. Sodiums and chlorides are both going to be probably in that 50 parts per million.
Yeah, I would say go for a Bavarian, a Dortmunder, or a Pilsen water profile on that. Preferably Bavarian, then Dortmunder, then Pilsen water profile if Beersmith has that. Very soft water, low mineral content to it. You're really going to want to let your malts shine with just that touch of debittered like Carafa on the end.
Not like Helles low, but like
not Helles low.
Like a third of what ours is.
Not München, not Berlin, not southern Germany, but the northern Bavarian Germany water profile. Not almost no mineral content. You need a little bit, but very low soft water.
They're relatively high on the chlorides too, actually.
On the chlorides? I did not know
sodium
that.
and chlorides.
Sodium, yeah. Okay.
Actual salt.
That makes sense, actually. Yeah. Hey, that's the Homogosa, so it would make sense that there's a lot of salt in the water.
Yeah.
All right. Bill, thank you for being in these live meetings. We sure appreciate you being here. We appreciate all of you being here. Final, Justin Reed, for the barley wine that we're doing, what final gravity are we trying to hit? Some. Low enough that it tastes good. In all honesty, when you're doing big beers like that, you shouldn't really be stuck on a final gravity. Unless you have really cultured your yeast out and you know what it's going to do in these beers, you don't know. That's the basic thing. You don't know what it's going to do. You don't know when it's going to fall asleep. You don't know if you produced a whole bunch of unfermentable proteins in there, which is also why we recommend throwing some amylase into the fermentation to convert a few more sugars. We are hoping that it gets down below 1.020. If it gets there, it gets there. But to tell you the truth, we're going till it tastes good. When it starts to really taste good, then we're going to care a little bit less where it finishes out, just that it's going to be a good tasting beer. And especially in these high ABV beers, that is what you should go for more than numbers. Does it taste good to you? Because that's going to be more important than making sure you ferment out those final 3 or 5 points. And in all honesty, I mean, if you start way up there at 1.1 or above, that should be what you're looking for. You should get a nice balance between the residual sweetness and what you have in those beers. All right, let's go for a few. How long will we age it for? We do age it in keg bottles because, you know... it's better than the fermenter, so we can make other beers. We age it till it tastes good. That's the basic thing. There are some guidelines in that. The higher the ABV and the more sharp flavors in your beer, the longer you should age it till it tastes good. But every beer is individual and will hit its peak at different times. We like to keep our barley wines at least 6 months. I shouldn't even say barley wine. We like to keep our high ABV beers. Cheers to a new beer, Jared. We like to keep our high ABV beers for at least 3 to 6 months before we try them to make sure that everything is coming around and being delicious. Now, your barley wine could be done in 3 months, it could be done in 2 months, or it honestly could take a couple of years to be done. It's one of those things, when it tastes good, it's done. Invictus by Flying Monkey. Yeah, I have had that. It's pretty darn delicious. Giff. Yes, you are speaking to my heart. Peter, beer idea. Schwarzbier, but with hot rocks. Yes.
Yeah. I will
Oh,
go
no, you're all right, brother. That's why I was excited about that. Giff, if you have not seen it, you need to get on and watch our video. We did make a hot rocks beer, and it was actually pretty tasty. I like the idea of doing it with Schwarz and adding that subtle smoke. That's awesome.
That beer's tasting really good right now too.
Ooh, yeah, it is. We need to get that on tap. All right.
I'm gonna go pour some of that actually. That sounds good.
Dale, how...
That'll be my live stream beer.
Oh, okay. How concerned should you be with final gravity on high ABV beers before bottlings? Dale on YouTube is asking about the high ABV because we did say that we like to keep it low. Hang on, guys. I'm going to move around a little bit. I'm losing a little power. So...
You can take that off.
Yeah, I'm going to take it off yours. Basically, guys, yes, you should be concerned about the final gravity if you are bottle conditioning your high ABV beers. 100% be concerned about that. If you are forced carbonating, of course, that means a whole heck of a lot less to you. Hang on, loud noises are going to be coming pretty soon, doing a few more cans. While I also figure out how... Ooh, there we go.
Yeah, melons.
Oh yeah, we were happy it worked out because we ordered 3,000 of those cans before we knew. YouTube people, Zoom. Yeah, Jared was talking to us on Zoom that we did a video on how to amend your cannular to accept the non-cannular cans, and that was one of our things. We were hoping it would work, but we definitely ordered the cans before we knew it would work. We had confidence in ourselves, though. Confidence is key.
It was either going to be that easy or it was going to be like a lot harder than that.
Yeah.
Either way, we're going to make it work.
We're going to make it work. Sorry, Jared, go. Yeah, I will say on that point, that's actually a good thing to bring up. YouTube, if you can't hear him, he was worried about the seaming from cannular to different cans. We actually did a bit of research on this before ordering them. There are two different style of can lids, and one of them does not work on the cannular. But when you look at the lids, they're actually very different. One of the lids that work on the cannular, on the inside of the lids, hang on 30 seconds here. Oh, do my headphones reach? Yes. So close up here for the Zoom meeting. If you look on the inside of the rim here, and for YouTube land, inside of the rim here, the ones that work on the cannular are pretty much straight flat down in. Or the ones that do not work in a cannular actually have a slope on the inside of the rim. So there are some lids that do not work with cannular. Do make sure you check that out. Back to that bottle bomb thing. So yeah, final gravity matters when you're bottling with yeast, when you're doing natural carbonation. At the same time, it's kind of hard to judge that in those high ABV beers because a lot of that residual sugar could be something that's unfermentable, or you could have so much alcohol or other factors in there when you try and bottle condition, it actually won't work because it could kill or inhibit the yeast. That's probably something we'll revisit, once this thing is done and we can do a video on it. But do keep that in mind. Do be aware of that. It's it's hard to tell in some of those. What we got in here? So Lotus is nice. Thank you. He's brewing the Genus kit this weekend.
Send us pictures.
Send us pictures.
If you're on Instagram, just take some Instagram stories or something like that and tag us in it. We'll be sure to share it to our highlights, share it to our story and all that.
Ooh, Jeff Brislin, this is awesome. Maybe we'll do a video on this. How to make your own candy sugar for a Belgian Strong Dark.
Oh, yeah.
Making your own candy sugar really isn't hard. I think BYO has an article on it.
It's basically you have some sort of simple sugar and then some sort of acid, and you're inverting it over heat. I've seen people do it with beet sugar and like apple juice. Mm-hmm. But the traditional way is using tartaric acid and beet sugar. But you can invert your own sugar in the similar way with like I don't know, brown sugar or cane sugar, pretty much anything else.
Yeah, I would say if you want to go super traditional on that and you don't want to use the tartaric or can't find it, using the beet sugar along with prunes or raisins will give you that same kind of like acid in there. That's actually, I think, how they used to do it was with prunes. I know in some of them, the Brewer's Gardens will actually say that there's, oh no, not Brewer's Garden, it's the liquid one we have. I don't remember.
The D180s and stuff?
D180s.
I don't know the brand, actually.
There's prune sugar in that as well.
Nice.
Which, in your Belgian Strong Dark, would be really nice, because that's
good.
an accurate flavor.
Yeah. But yeah, you can kind of fake your own. There's basically a lot of worlds you can play with. Basically, you need some sort of acid, which most juices, obviously you don't want pulp or anything like that, but most juices will have some sort of acid. And you need some sort of sugar. You need to cook it over a relatively low heat for a long amount of time until you get that slow caramelization so that you can stop it at the right darkness.
This is not an easy thing to do. If any of you have ever made candy or caramel before, you know how hard it actually is to get to a specific point in making candy. So do invest in a candy thermometer. That thing is going to be absolutely amazing for you, and be constantly aware. Actually, a good reference for the brewing world, we know how fast boilovers can happen. The shifts in making candy can happen faster. So once it starts to get into that area where you want it, be on it like a hawk. All right. I should probably go through and let's check out.
Good news, guys. My mortgage payment went through today, so that's good. I'm caught up on that. Didn't get delayed. I still own a house. So, in case you're wondering what's going on in my world.
Yeah. Cheers to still owning a house.
Yeah.
I mean, big accomplishment to own a house. A big accomplishment.
Accomplishment.
Keeping a house.
Yeah.
Accomplishment. That's
accomplishment is a technical term. You really need to just use it all the time.
It's like a double accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, any comments you got right now, or woot?
Yay!
All right. Woot!
So we'll take a couple questions again. If you got anything else before we go, we really wanted to just test out that Zoom strategy. Hopefully, you guys liked the whole fact that we can just hang out and ask questions and chat a little bit. Let us know. If not, we're going to start working towards wrapping this thing up a little bit.
Zoom, anybody in there got a question or anything for us?
We'll give it a couple minutes. One more shout out of what you're drinking next.
Wait, hang on. We got one coming.
We got a Zoom question?
All right, do it.
I wish I could hear that. We need to next time. We're gonna get both on our phones.
Hang on. He talked having brew what?
I need to get my headphones. That way I can hear whenever they're talking on Zoom. Next time I'll bring my phone with me and we'll both be on Zoom on our phones with headphones so that we can hear everything going on.
Oh, yeah.
We're about to find out though. Let's see how this goes.
Okay, to like further caramelize it down and stuff. We haven't done anything like beer poking. Super hot rod that you're dumping into a Doppelbock.
Oh no.
Stuff. Yeah, we have no experience in that. That could be actually a really fun thing to research and do.
We've done it with rocks so far.
Yeah, and so that I will comment on that. It's an awesome thing to do. It's in all right, YouTube world. He's talking about basically in like a Doppelbock, taking a super hot rod and shoving it in there. Now, what that's going to do for you is actually caramelize a lot of really good things around that rod. And that's in a Doppelbock. That's where you're getting those rich malty flavors. Is that Maillard or the caramelization reaction? So that's a cool way to do it. Yeah, cool. Oh, nice. Sorry, I'm reading a comment here. But yeah, that's a traditional thing for Doppelbock, too. One of the ways that you create Doppelbock is through a decoction mash, which is so horrendous to do if you've done it. If you haven't done it, it's basically taking out... It's doing a step mash, where you take out a third of your mash, grains included, pull it off into a kettle, boil it and reduce it down, then mixing it back into your mash to step it up. And you do that most of the time twice in the Doppelbock to create extreme caramelization for that Maillard reaction, which is amazing. Because of our more well-modified malts, we can fake that better, but there's really no substitution for a great Maillard. That's something you should be trying to achieve in a lot of those big malty lagers, like Box, Doppelbocks, and Fest beers. So I like that. We'll have to research that and do it. So what I was laughing at, there's a guy on the YouTube commenting, everyone on Zoom, it's a no pants zone needed. And even though you can't quite see it, it might be a no pants zone here too.
I am wearing pants. I just unzip my fly every time I sit down.
Exactly. I mean, you shouldn't though, because hey.
But how else is Tim going to know when I'm happy?
Well, you know, when I feel a banana on my leg.
The ultimate social distancing.
Count Druncula, have we had a if we had a surge in followers since this, as homebrew is gone crazy? You know, in all honesty, yes and no. There has been a lot more people coming in to do homebrew, to do other things, but in all honesty, we have seen more people who used to do it coming out than new people. It's been kind of amazing, and people we haven't seen in years will be coming in and want new stuff or different stuff. I'm like, man, you used to come in all the time. I haven't seen you for a couple of years. Now, of course, life happens. You get jobs. You can't do as much stuff, but that's been awesome. Now, we have seen an uptick in a lot of our social medias and YouTube and all that kind of stuff, mainly because we're making more content, and the more content you make, the more people watch it.
And we have more time to spend on quality content. Not really, but, you know, we're pretending to spend more time on quality content.
And we hired a guy to make higher quality content.
Yeah,
So
and then reduced his hours.
And then reduced his hours. That's because he started writing his own music for our videos. You know what you did, Ryan. You know.
I thought it's funny. People get mad in the comments. People, every time we let Ryan do something like that to one of our videos, people get mad. They're like, "Leave the effects behind." I'm like,
come on, this guy.
Like we ever took ourselves seriously in the
so
first
hard
place.
on it, and like sometimes it's really funny. Oh, when he rickrolled you. On your shirt. That wasn't even rickrolling. That was honestly the guy who edits our video doing the rickrolling. Rick Astley. It was amazing.
It was funny.
Torsten. Sorry, not Thorsten. Although could be. Higher sulfate in your water profile, an issue with lighter beers. It can be.
Oh, 200 ppm? Absolutely.
Oh, I didn't actually read that part. Yeah, that's high, man. Dilute that out a little bit. Now, lighter beers, anything that's on the high end can really impact your beers because there's not much else in there.
Yeah.
If you do, it's right up front.
If you think about like the hoppy end of a light lager, which is going to be the Czech Pilsner, basically you're looking at 50 to 60 sulfates, and you're looking at like 10 to 15 chlorides. So I mean, which is why it pops that hoppiness. Is why the Czech Pilsner is kind of the hoppier end of those light lagers. But 200 ppm, that's aggro. That's West Coast IPA level, just aggression, and it's gonna really you're gonna notice that for sure.
If you like drinking hard-boiled egg water, do it. If you don't.
In an IPA, it actually works. It can build in with the hops quite a bit, but on a light lager, like that's not light.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. When you're brewing these light beers, and we say it a lot, I know it's going around homebrew, there's nothing to hide behind there. That can be a wonderful thing because that can show off the beautiful fermentation, the nice light subtleness of all the hops and malts. But at the same time, anything else that's in there that's out of proportion will be straight up front. That's what you're going to taste. So just keep everything in balance and keep it really nice in low levels, and you'll have some really delicious beers. I know I'm liking that. So Lotus, that's how I'm going to say it, man. He just tapped an English ESB fermented with cherries. Oh, yes. Yes, son. All right. first, I love a true English ESB. When you do it right, oh my God, those beers are so just nice, subtle, and delicious. Can crush them all day long. Throwing a little cherries on the back end, I like that. That's a cool thing.
That sounds really good. Yeah.
Spin. Yeah. Let's take a pause on YouTube for a minute. Zoom. No, we're doing a last round beer call.
Last round beer call. Let's
Last
put it
round
up. I'm
beer
going to put
call.
that on Zoom. I'm going to mute these mics and turn up the Zoom real quick.
Yeah, hang up.
I actually have to get back on Zoom on my phone then. That's how I was doing it, by the way.
Yeah. Well, not a last beer call, so we'll still be chatting a little bit about it, but last beer call. You son of a bitch. No. There's... Damn it. I'm getting outvoted. I can always go buy more.
Tell everyone on YouTube to scroll up to the very top.
What?
Tell everyone on YouTube to scroll to the very top and click on the Zoom link, meeting link.
All right.
If they want to get in on this.
If anybody on YouTube wants to call out their beers that they're doing, yeah, Southern Tier IPA, deliciousness. The double wide used to be one of my favorite beers ever.
All right, Sam, you're about to go mute.
Ooh. Hey, send some to us. We'll feature that. That sounds delicious and amazing. I mean, if you're in the service industry, that kind of makes sense. A few of us are salty turtles. More
Salty turtle, I feel it.
than easy. Yeah. Oh, Matt Weiser, he just popped up on YouTube. If you don't know, in our area, Matt Weiser started a brewing project. It's actually kind of cool what he did. He's a home brewer. He started a brewing project with a whole bunch of different breweries and doing tons of different coffee beers. And it was fun to see what we all did with the different beers coming out, between coffee raspberry sours to coffee IPAs. You know, oh yeah, to all that. You're on Zoom.
You're on Zoom.
I'm on Zoom. Yeah, I am. I'm always on Zoom.
No, now that's what's streaming. Right?
Oh, YouTube is streaming Zoom. Oh, sorry, everybody. Let me get back to this before I say things about Matt that I might regret later. No, I'm just kidding, Matt. So everybody on YouTube, we're on Zoom. The link to the Zoom is right up on top. If you want to do a shout out on Zoom, click the link, get on there. We're doing last calls. Matt, we made an Imperial Coffee Saison, and talking about Maillard reactions, we actually just took a Saison, reduced it by half. That's tasting awesome as a Saison by itself, so we actually put that on and drank it all. Sorry, buddy, we forgot to call you. But we'll make another one, probably. Yeah, what do we got? Shannon Myers, you drinking a pale ale? Cool. Anybody else on Zoom? I'm gonna shut up for a minute.
Drinking a Hellas Lager here from Ural Brewing, Riverside, California. Really nice, refreshing, little touch of sweetness, the noble hops. Awesome on a nice warm California day.
I might say Hellas good.
What do you got drinking, Brew
Hellas, yeah.
Daddy? I see that name down there.
Welcome, Brew Daddy.
Brew Daddy!
Brew
Come on,
Daddy for
tell
the
us.
win.
Tell
Where'd
us.
he go?
Oh, he got shy.
Oh, we called him out.
Oh,
Brew-
Steve, come back.
Yeah, Steve works with us. That is actually Peter's dad. So, you should have been on here the whole dang time.
He's a legit
There
Brew
you are.
Daddy. Mm.
He is a Brew Daddy. You're back, Brew Daddy. What are you drinking?
Steve, what's in your glass? Tell us what you know.
We're begging. We're begging. Yeah, we're talking to you. Look at his face. It's all right. He's an older generation. He may not figure out. He may be able to
Okay,
figure out.
Boomer.
Hang on. I can unmute him.
He's
We'll
got
do this myself.
Tell us what you know, Steve. Tell us what you know.
Well, Steve.
We're waiting. he doesn't have an unmute for me. Dang it!
Oh, I love him. He's my
Oh.
fave.
Hey,
There
There
is
it
glass.
is.
hey, that was
looks
a
like
thumbnail right there. You
Yeah.
gotta use that for the thumbnail.
It looks like a thuha, maybe.
He's
Yeah.
drinking our own.
Oh, he's probably getting yelled at by his wife right now. All right. Druncula, you got a 6.2 ESB, a little bit of acetone. Oh man, that's no good. I hope that ages out for you, buddy. Jeff, it's midday. That is a perfect time for a midday beer. Come on, son. Come on. Yeah, we're not. All right, another person. Uncle Matt. Hey, Weiser, we were just talking about him. He's on our Zoom meeting now. Say hi.
Hey, there's Matt. Hey, Matt.
Welcome, Uncle Matt.
Unmute yourself.
For Uncle Matt to my
There you go. What you drinking, buddy?
it is a sour, the Urban Artifact Kaleidoscope. It's Urban Art Kaleidoscope.
Ah, nice. Very nice. This is a gentleman that we were talking about earlier that put together a whole bunch of brews in Spokane. Yeah, we did not coffee that Saison. We instead just put it on tap because it was super delicious and drank most of it.
Hey, Demon, let me.
It's still back there. In all honesty, the speedle on that one is not very good. So we got to transfer that to a new keg, and we'll put it back on tap. It's tasting amazing right now. Absolutely amazing. YouTube's talking to themselves, so whatever. All right, who else? Anybody else in Zoom calling out? Oh, I guess I should check the chat. Anybody calling in chat? No. Where's the Bill? Where's the Zoom link? The Zoom link should be way up on the top of the chat. Did you put it in chat or in the link to the video? In the YouTube live chat. Oh yeah, there it is. The very second comment, Bill. That should be the Zoom link.
Steve, why are you upside down?
Count drunk, yeah.
Your daddy's still muted.
Oh, there he is.
Nice. I like that. I like Count Druncula. He's on our YouTube chat. He's a guy that has some acetone in the ESB, and this is actually a cool thing. Expanding your palate as a home brewer. That a lot of home brewers would taste a beer that's sour and be like, "Oh man, this is crap," and then they toss it when that could have been just one of the absolute best beers in existence if you would have given it like 6 months to a year. Expanding your palate out to learn that, oh, this might taste bad right now, but it will be delicious later is great. That's something we should do as home brewers. So cheers to you, sir. Cheers to you. That's actually something we had in the shop the other day that someone came in, just as a frame of reference. Someone made an IPA. We don't know exactly how it got in there, but there was Britannia-Myces in it. They made a hazy. As we know, Brett eats everything. So it ate all the haze, and it started to turn a little sour funky. And they're like, I don't know. It's clear. Should we dump it? Both Peter and I taste it and go, no. If you're going to dump this, then please bring us all of it, and we're going to sit it in the back for about 6 months and drink it then.
What a reason to dump a beer. It's clear. Oh my God, it's clear. Dump it.
All right, Jared, I'll say this too. They're expecting a hazy, and they're beginner brewers, so they don't know too much. They're expecting a hazy. It comes out clear. They think it's wrong. But then if you've ever worked a lot with Brett, it's actually something I love to see. There's a certain point in Brett when Britannia-Myces really starts to take over, that all the flavor in your beer drops out. And I mean, literally all the flavor drops. You could have the biggest beer ever, and it'll taste like maybe a LaCroix. These and they're beginner brewers. Yeah. And that's awesome. Yeah, so oh, sorry. I think Let's see, there's a certain point. Oh, really weird. I'm getting a really delayed echo on Zoom.
Sound like a submarine.
Not there anymore. That was odd. But yeah, there's a point when Brett starts to take over that all the flavor will drop out of your beer. So if you have a delicious beer and it's tasting delicious, and then all of a sudden there's nothing, leave it alone for 6 months. That is probably Britanniamyces, and it's probably going to be amazing after that 6 months. So when those guys came in and they have a clear beer that should be hazy that's tasting like nothing, like I get it. To an inexperienced home brewer, you're like, oh, my beer's bad. And then we taste it and go, oh no, your beer's just not amazing yet. Save it. Drink it later. So, okay. One question, how would you know what acetone tastes like in the first place? Okay. I'm going to take this question as well. I've said this before, that sometimes beers will taste like acetone. It tastes like a freshly printed sheet of paper. Like if you're doing a bunch of copies off a copier and it spits a copy out, like that smell, that printer ink smell that's coming off of it, that's kind of acetone. Like that's at least what I use to describe acetone, considering acetone goes into printed ink. Wet cardboard is another kind of a flavor descriptor for that, but it's one of those things that you drink a beer and you go, oh wow, this just came out of a Xerox. That's acetone. Logan is not here, Drunkula, but the Inkbird video is about the Inkbird temperature controllers. We use them a lot. It's an electronic temperature controller. Stick the probe in a fermenter, reads a temperature, it turns on or off depending on if you have it a cooling area or a heating area, and that may be plugged into glycol or a heater or some things like that. I'm not going too far into that because you can click on the link and watch it for yourself. Oh yeah, Jeff Brislin. Cat piss. Cat urine is oh man. It's hard to describe sour sometimes. Cat urine is a very common flavor descriptor for some really good lambics. What that basically means is ammonia. There could be some ammonia-like smells going in there or flavors. Most of the time it's not in the flavor, but in the smell you can kind of pick it up. And it is very delicious in the right proportions. For those of you who don't believe me, just drink a real lambic and it will be in there. Just may not necessarily associate with that. There's a little touch of ammonia a lot of the time when you do a mixed fermentation beer, and it is wonderful in the right proportion. When it's out of proportion, you literally smell it. Oh yeah, that's a litter box. Go away. Don't get in my face anymore. What? We're off Zoom now. Back in the regular camera. Yeah, Count Drunky. Have you ever taken off nail varnish? That is a good thing. Fingernail polish remover. That's literally acetone. If you smell that in your beer, probably not great. Give it some time. It might turn into something delicious, but that is definitely an off flavor. That's acetone. All right. Talking about some Inkbirds, Inkbird Wireless, which is cool.
Talk about some Tuesday. That didn't upload, or is that
apparently we're echoing now.
No, good here.
For YouTube's live stream.
We shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be. Somebody on YouTube, tell me if I'm echoing. Echo. Yeah. That might be because we turned on Peter's. Hang on, let's see if I can mute. No, you're muted. That's weird. All right. Get back into the chats. Cool. Yeah. All right, Peter got it figured out. Yeah, Matt, the YouTube delay is really weird when especially you're on this side. That's why sometimes I stop talking, because I can either see the YouTube delay and I distract myself. I'm easily distracted.
You guys are distracted.
Well, they're looking at us, so how can they not be? I was down in the other one. Couple of Prost in there. Weiser saying the delay is interesting. Still echoey. Still echoey.
Hopefully it is gone
Jeff,
now.
Cool. There we go. Yeah. Don't
Pretty sure I
step
just
into
fixed
the
it.
light. Only if they have beer.
I'm pretty sure I fixed it with that last little adjustment.
I'm pretty sure you did too.
Okay.
Jeff said it after.
Yeah, okay.
After the
Better.
echo,
Perfect, yeah.
so.
Yeah, I just always forget that my mixing board goes both in and out of the computer. And so if I don't turn certain things down, then the same things that's going out of the computer goes back into the computer. Because science is power. All right, do we have any more questions? Are we ready to...
Any more questions from Zoom? No? Everybody good? Hey, now Brew Daddy's talking. He figured it out.
Nice.
Welcome into conversation.
Well, he'll be ready for next time.
He will be ready for next time. Oh, yeah. It took me a minute, too. Don't worry about it. Although now that I'm thinking about it, it may not be a good thing that you figured it out. All right, guys. Well, cool. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks for helping us troubleshoot our live stream, and hopefully everything is super, super smooth on Saturday. We are going to come up with a schedule. I will post a link to how to log in to the Zoom meeting, so that when we're in certain times during the whole brew day on Saturday, we're just going to go ahead and turn that whole thing over to Zoom. When we turn the whole thing over to Zoom, it'll be whoever wants to talk and chat and have that be posted live. It'll be ready to go. You can share your brew day with the world, and that should be kind of fun.
Yeah. Do keep an eye out for some new content coming. We're always working on stuff. We got
Absolutely.
some new Will It Beer videos coming up. We're even considering about doing some fun things beer related, but a little bit different.
Yeah.
Ominous music.
Bum, bum, bum.
That was well timed. We rehearsed that.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and...
All right, we got anything else? Extra coffee and kit. You're welcome, Thorsten.
Yep.
I will say, if you enjoyed that coffee, Tom Sawyer does actually ship around all the United States.
Awesome.
So you are more than welcome to order from them. They're awesome guys. Do it. Cheers to New York. Belgian IPA pop over here. Dale, that's a great question. Yes. So actually, we do have a very strong Belgian brewing scene in the Pacific Northwest. There's a few breweries that specifically do it. There were 2 in Spokane that were only Belgian. One of them was a lawyer, so he decided the money was much better in that than brewing, and I don't blame him. But Selkirk Abbey is a 100% Belgian brewery over here. They're pretty darn tasty. Their flagship is a Belgian IPA. If you do it right, it's delicious. So... definitely drink some of them. Get after them. Also, if you've seen white IPA, that is the same thing as a Belgian IPA. Jeff, good question on that. Saturday night, our time.
Yeah, 2 p.m.
We will make sure that it's our time. We're trying to line it up with the American Homebrew Association's Big Brew, so we can have, thousands of people around the world doing it at one time. We think that they're doing 2 p.m. our time, West Coast time, Pacific time. But we'll make sure on that. We'll have it in the link. We'll put it on social medias. So keep on that, and you should have exactly when we're doing it. We're shooting for 2 p.m. our time as of right now. But we'll make sure that that's
we'll keep you up to date, and we'll make sure that if we end up jumping in on, because theirs is I think it's a giant Zoom meeting or something like that. But we'll make sure. Well, we're gonna try to jump into other people's brew days on the same day too. I know a lot of people are doing live streams in the YouTube world earlier than that, and maybe even later than that. So we're personally gonna try to jump in on other people's brew days as well, and kind of see what's going on in the world of brewing.
Yeah, Lotus, Omegang being right there. Delicious. We love some brewery Omegang, but you're also pretty darn close to Unibrow, which is stupidly delicious. Hill Farmstead's not that far away. And when we say not that far away, where we're at, the next biggest city that's closest to us is 6-hour drive away. So you guys in those tiny little states and countries that you can drive across in like, you know, a half an hour, we're a little ways away from it. But yeah, there's a lot of good Belgian yeast flying around everywhere. Belgian's delicious. I'll support it, but I support beer.
Yeah.
So, what time are we? Matt, you could have sent that to us on Facebook. What time are we open Saturday for ingredients? 10 a.m. to 6:30-ish.
Matt, our opening time hasn't changed in 7 years.
That means 7 years, man. Come on, son.
So.
Get man said.
All right, we're going to wrap this thing up. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. Thank you so much for watching and helping us figure this thing out. Hopefully it was entertaining for you, and hopefully the rest of the internet world agrees.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks guys for joining in on Zoom as well. This has been an interesting and delightful learning experience. I mean, anytime you could get paid to have a beer, right?